G'day Aussies, how's it going? Today I want to talk to you about freedom of speech. Now, as most of you are aware, here in Australia and quite recently we've had quite a lot of protests and rallies. One of the major ones I'll mention is a GrowCon group where a whole heap of people decide to rally and not go to work because they thought they are better than everybody else. The second major rally that was, or protest, was this Muslim, or Muslim, as the Americans like to say, this Muslim video. And all these Islamic people decide to go out on the streets of Sydney and have a bit of a ride, have a hoot, have a holler, and also completely break Australian laws. Now, the reason why I mentioned that they broke the law is because nowhere in the Australian Constitution or anywhere in any of the Australian bylaws do we have freedom of speech. That's right, our freedom of speech is a given right. It is not a constitutional right. So therefore, technically what that means is if you decide to go out and have a protest, effectively the police should be arresting your fat sorry ass. Now, the reason why the police do not arrest you is because them themselves are gutless wonders. That's right, I call the Australian law enforcement agencies a gutless wonder. Not only that, but they do not seem to understand that Australia does not have freedom of speech. I questioned 3 police officers at a recent protest in Melbourne as to why they're allowing this protest to proceed. And they told me quite directly that in Australia they have the right to voice their opinion. I so kindly informed the police officer that under the Australian Constitution and nowhere in our local or state bylaws does it say that freedom of speech is a legal right. He checked that with his senior sergeant constable, whatever, Bobby Charlie, and sure as shit, he came back saying I was quite correct. I therefore decided to pursue this issue by saying, therefore, seeing this as deemed to be an illegal protest, granted that we do not believe in freedom of speech in this country, then can you please arrest them under the disturbing of the peace regulation? I was the one told to move along, not the group of 50. So, it really makes you wonder. Everybody says how lucky we are to live in this country, how lucky we are to have the freedom and rights that we do have. Well, maybe if half these people actually say that, should read the Constitution, because we are not as free as what everybody likes to think. If you would like to have freedom of speech in your Constitution, or maybe in your amendments, your rights and what else, maybe you should move to America, where freedom of speech is actually protected by law. So, that's my rant. Anyone who thinks that we have freedom of speech in this country is sadly mistaken, because we do not. If you'd like to know more about the Australian Constitution or our bylaws, please visit www.google.com.au and type in Australian Constitution and search for freedom of speech. I'll even do a general Google search, because we all know Google is very, very accurate. So, I might go out on the streets on the weekend and protest against the police for not doing their job. And I reckon I'll be the one who gets arrested for breaking the law. Or more to the point, disturbing the peace. That's all, folks. Have a good night.